So the first known protein of extraterrestrial origin has been located by scientists inside a meteor that crashed to Earth. Although the protein they discovered could easily have been an Earth protein based on the structure, the ratio of deuterium to hydrogen in the molecule was not consistent with Earth chemistry and was in fact more consistent with an origin on a comet. The meteorite in question fell in Algeria in 1990, but new techniques uncovered the protein.
Okay, so the protein that we found, it looks like a protein that we would find on Earth.
Yes, it does.
But what again made them think that it developed in
the ratio of deuterium to hydrogen. So I'm no chemist or anything, but as I understand it, deuterium is an isotope of hydrogen, I want to say. Okay. Or maybe an isotope of helium. It's an isotope of one of those very simple gases.
I've heard this. That's ringing a bell. Go ahead.
Yeah. You probably heard about it in the context of nuclear fusion.
Right.
That's what you use to do it. So there's a specific ratio of those things in, for instance, all the water you're going to find on Earth. And, all the life, organic molecules, et cetera, that are derived thereof.
And so these proteins have a higher concentration of that, and that's leading them to believe that...
Well, yeah, I don't know about higher or lower.
Or a concentration that's consistent with a comet.
Yeah, it was... Exactly. It's like, this is comet water, this isn't Earth water. So chemically, there's not... It doesn't really affect anything, but it gives you clues as to where this thing originated. And proteins are a pretty complex organic molecule. Finding carbohydrates in space or something is one thing, but finding a protein is another thing. That's a much more advanced building block of life. It makes up all tissues, basically.
Right.
All living creatures.
But it seems to me like, one thing is when an asteroid hits the Earth, it sends stuff back up into space. I'm just wondering how much this is potentially saying that it originated not on Earth, but I guess it possibly could
Scientists, now, I'm not sure of the science or the chemistry or anything, but they seem pretty sure that at the very least this protein didn't come from Earth.
Right, but it might be an ancestor of something that came from Earth, is what I'm kind of getting at. I'm trying to figure out the likelihood that it didn't develop on Earth in any way, like life forming elsewhere.
Right. Well, that's unclear whether, our Earth life and this Earth life, developed somewhere else out in the cosmos, whether this is sort of a panspermia situation.
Right.
Or if this is just a clue that organic molecules forming just of their own accord is a thing that happens sometimes.
Well, it seems to me that it is evidence leaning towards the possibility of panspermia, if nothing else.
Yeah, I think it might be too early to say, what version of, the origin of life this finding actually supports, but I kind of agree. I think, if these things are riding on comets, then the idea that maybe they seeded the Earth at some point is not far-fetched at all. But then that raises the question, how did this thing get on the comet? Where did it come from?
Well, when we get hit by an asteroid, stuff gets hucked out into space.
Sure.
And so if this thing evolved on Earth and basically duplicated somehow out in space to the point where this generation has the deuterium of some body out there, it would definitely be panspermia is definitely...
That's true.
Possible.
I think,
in the realms of possibility.
I don't know that proteins, they aren't self-replicating, though, so they're not really part of any kind of evolutionary chain. They form once, and then... Right. If it was something like RNA.
Right, yeah. The NRA.
Yeah, they found the NRA on a comet.
Right. Dark Side of the Moon,
Shrieking comets don't kill people before it.
Well, it's like that Iron Sky movie. It's the Dark Side of the Moon, Moon Nazis.
The Moon Nazis?
Yeah.
You calling the NRA Nazis?
Well, I didn't mean to, but yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, okay.
If it feeds the
fair.
story,
I just wanted to make sure we got there.
I see.
For the benefit of our listeners.